Welcome. Check, check. Welcome to Coffee Breaks Thursdays with Jason Zalakis. Hello, everybody. I am your host, Jason Zalakis. Still setting up my camera. Let me see if I can get a little more space here in the film. I don't know. Maybe we're too far away. Maybe we're too close. We're going to figure it out. When the guest comes on, this thing does what it wants. And our guest today is Joel Wynkoop, who is he's an actor, director. The guy has over 200 credits. He's been at it quite a while. And most people who are up-and-coming actors or aspiring actors know who he is. He makes a lot of movies, a lot of films, and they get produced. You know, they're real credits. So we're going to have him on today. So I'm pretty excited about that. Again, welcome to Coffee Breaks Thursday with Jason Zalakis. And before we bring on our guest, Joel Wynkoop today, we do what we do. We get it started. So we'll bring him on in just a few moments here. But we'll do what we always do. We'll talk about what we do. So welcome to Coffee Breaks Thursdays with Jason Zalakis. Today is a special episode. It's not really any special. We're doing it on Thursday as we always do. But obviously today is Veterans Day. So shout out to our veterans who. Of course, defend our freedoms and everything. Shout out to them. I would be doing a disservice if I didn't mention. As for my mom, I'm going to go ahead and say that my grandfather was my great grandfather was in World War I, and my grandfather was in World War II, and my dad, of course, was in Vietnam, and my brother was in Desert Storm. I, however, did not serve. In case you're ever wondering. But I have, and this is not an equivalent to serving in the military. I don't mean that in any way, shape, or form. But my contribution is that I've played a homeless vet a number of times, specifically to bring a plight, not plight, but attention to the plight of the homeless veterans. So that's been my contribution, I guess. And I'm not saying that is any anyway comparable to serving in the military. That's not probably something I'm capable of. In fact, they were like, yo, if you want to go in the military, and I was like, I don't know, man, that submarine sounds really tight in there. So, for me as a claustrophobic dude being 6'4", I was kind of like, nah, that's not going to happen. So I ended up not going that route, even when I sort of considered it. I had a friend at the time who went in the Navy, and he was like, yeah, man, it's the greatest gig ever. And I wonder if he'd still say that today. I don't know whatever happened to that guy. You know what's funny is his name was Mike Myers, Michael Myers, as a matter of fact. And, I grew up with them. And this was before the Saturday Night Live guy got big. But we all knew who Michael Myers the Killer was. Of course, it wasn't spelled the same. Michael Myers the Killer spells his M-Y-E-R-S. And, this guy was M-E-Y-E-R-S. And so, we all know that. But anyway, then the character on Saturday Night Live got popular. So this poor guy had to go through life being named Michael Myers, and I can't imagine that's an easy name to get through. Even me being named Jason as a kid was like, Jason was like this thing, and it was some name, and it would come up every so often, but I never minded. Of course, my middle name is Michael, so I'm named for two of those guys. I'm not named for them, of course. I'm born before they existed, but it just worked out that way. I think everyone from my generation, is named that. I think Jason and Michael are like super, super common names. So obviously that's why the Killers are named that. I'm sure that's why they have those names. Let's talk about a couple more things before we bring our guests on today. I don't want to lose you. Got off on a tangent there about rando shit on Veterans Day, but hey, that's how we do it here. Let's talk about some stuff. So what's been going on this week? This week we are drinking out of an Office Space special edition promotional coffee mug that I got when the box set came out with the DVD. The very first time they released Office Space on DVD. It was with a t-shirt and a stapler and a whole bunch of crap. Anyway, this mug came in, and on the other side, now the mug got a weird mark in my dishwasher, but on the other side it says, yeah. So, and we all know that line from the movie, of course. But anyway, that's what I'm drinking out of today. If you don't know, Office Space is definitely one of my all-time favorite movies. If you've never worked in an office, you may not understand it. But if you have, you would understand it. Recently, I saw this thing and it said, the guys from Rage Against the Machine never specified what machine they were raging against, but I imagine it was a printer. And all I could think of is that scene in Office Space where they go out there and they beat the printer to Ice Cube's "It's Good to Be a Gangster" song, and I think it's one of the best cinematic moments in history. Imagine how little that takes, and then it becomes this great like moment that we never forget. I mean, what an amazing thing. Let me talk about a few more things this week before we bring our guest on, Joel Wynkoop. This guy is pretty amazing, so I'm pretty excited to get to him. I'm only going to talk for a little bit longer because it's what I do. But I got to tell you what's going on with me this week. Let's talk about that. I did a couple of commercials. You guys know I'm back at commercials. I've film work for me is a little slow, so I've started taking commercials again. And it's not that film work is a little slow. It's that film work isn't as lucrative as commercials are. And they want to pay me to do it. And they want to pay me to sell products I don't use, which is fantastic. And I keep saying to them, I don't know why you guys think I'm the guy for this, but they go, well, your look. So apparently people who look like me use the products I sell. Last week I sold, or a couple of weeks ago, I did something for Tactical Traps, which is this really great gun thing. And I actually think it's a really good product. I'd never seen one in person before. And that's like I'm saying is I don't even know the products when I get there. I go, oh, what are we shooting? And so they go, hey, this is what we're doing. And they tell me to do it. But people think I use these products. You guys, I don't. I don't own the products. I don't use them. I don't even know what they do. I just get paid to promote them. So I never take Arthrol. But if you guys see my newest commercial, this guy writes and he goes, hey, ma'am, listen, I can never do those jumping jacks you're doing. And I'm like, yo, dude, that didn't come from Arthrol, bro. I used to weigh 300 pounds. That came from hard ass work. Arthrol didn't do it. I never took no Arthrol, you guys. So if you're watching me on commercials, but the commercial I did this week was for Keysmo, and it's this all-in-one tool. And I shouldn't be ratting this tool out, but man, I dropped it on my foot and it straight hurt. I dropped it on my foot during the taping, and I'm not wearing shoes. We're in somebody's house. We're filming at a house because that's where you do commercials. Nobody has. I mean, I've been on sets, but this set is a house. So I dropped this thing on my foot, and I swear to you, it was like dropping a lead weight on my foot. It would really hurt. But when to actually use it, they show me, and the guy, I walk in, and he goes, hey man, you ever have any electrical experience? And I go, well, yeah. Before, I used to work for this lighting company, and I used to install the light clouds in Home Depot. So anytime you walk into a, what do you mean? Sorry, I shouldn't read the comments while I talk. It distracts me. My mother hates that part of the show when I get distracted. The Home Depot light cloud. If you walk into a Home Depot and you see the light clouds, you see the things that are for sale, the ceiling fans and the light bulbs and the sconces and all that stuff. I used to install that stuff. Whenever they would build a new Home Depot in Northern California, I would go to the Home Depot, me and a team, another guy, two guys, and we would go to these locations and we would install the ceiling lights. So I actually had some electricals, but I walk on the set and he goes, can you actually do it? And I go, sure. And he's like, oh, okay. So we change out this thing on TV, on film, and I'm talking to you like I really do this stuff. And the guy says, he says, you got to use the Keysmo, which is this all-in-one like key. You'll see. Keep watching my feed. You'll see the commercial. I'm going to show it in a couple of weeks. But I go to install this thing and it doesn't work. So we actually opened up another. I'm making a scissors because we're cutting it out of the package, and we opened up another multi-purpose tool, and then we used that to loosen the screws on the thing on the wall, and then we filmed it as if I was doing it with the Keysmo. So the truth is one of the multi-tools we bag on in the commercial actually did the work. So, that's how it is. That's how it is. So I don't, if you see me on a product, man, and you think it's cool, that's you. I don't know about that product. So please stop asking me. I never ate sheep placenta. I never ate that. I've advertised it, but I've never eaten it. I don't own half of the stuff. The shirts they give me to model don't fit. I make that work. I'm faking it. Anyway, moving on. I got one more thing I want to talk about before we bring our guests on. And you guys know I like to keep it popping. You guys also know I like to hear myself talk. Here we go. It is Coffee Breaks Thursday with Jason Zalakis and guest. So, but our guest today, I'm really stoked. Joel Wynkoop, hang in there. We are getting to him. And this guy has done it all. So we are excited to talk to him. The deal is, I went to my kids' play this week. And I got to see my kids, both of them, on stage. Now, one is a senior and one is a freshman, so this will be the only time they're ever on high school stage together. And it's my son's debut. And my son did a fantastic job. And my daughter, of course, steals the show. My daughter is like twice the actor I am on any given day. Like you should cast my daughter. Anyway, my son comes out and he nails his lines and everything is great. But after the show, every kid there knows of me, which is very strange. And so the kids, they come up to me after the show and they're like, oh my God. And one kid comes up to me and he says, I have to meet the Zalakis DILF. And I was like, wait a minute, what? And I made that out, and he said, the Zalakis DILF, as if I go by that title. So this kid comes up to me and he shakes my hand and he's like, I can't believe it. You're like meeting me is some is some big deal. But apparently to these high school kids, I'm the dad who is hot. So I've gone around the high school as being the dad who is hot, and the kids get told that every day. The kids come home, oh, somebody followed me on TikTok. Your dad is so hot. So it's weird to go to high school and finally be popular. I was not that guy in high school, man. In high school, are you kidding? I was not popular. I wasn't hot. I wasn't any of those things. I mean, so to finally get to high school and popular people think I'm attractive, that's amazing. I don't care what age you are. I don't give a shit. I like the attention, which is why I do this show, Coffee Breaks Thursdays with Jason Zalakis. Before we bring Joel Wynkoop on, let's talk about one more thing that no one is talking about and you should be. I don't know why you're not talking about this. Tell me why you're not talking about this. On Halloween, Kanye West has a church service where Justin Bieber and Marilyn Manson are there, and they're dressed in all white. Why are you people not talking about this? They are dressed in all white. And Bieber gives a prayer to exorcise Manson's demons because Manson is a Church of Satan member. And so to have him on this holy ground, Bieber gives an exorcism. So I don't understand why that's not the biggest story in the news. Bieber exorcises Manson for Kanye, wearing all white in a desert. Now my question is, are rich people just bored? What is the deal with rich people? Manson's whole following is these Satan people. And I'm not saying they're all Satan worshipers. I dig Manson. He's cool. That's not a good example. So, but my point is that why is that not a bigger story? That seems like the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. Like, not me, but that seems like the weirdest thing I've ever heard of. That Bieber is exorcising Marilyn Manson for Kanye West. Like what an incredible story. I think they should make stamps with that picture on it. Like it's the most craziest thing I've ever seen. And it's here in the United States. We have that. Let's get to our guest, folks. Coffee Breaks Thursdays with Jason Zalakis. Maybe he has an opinion on Bieber's exorcism. I doubt it. However, he's from Florida. And you know how I do on Florida on this show. We are live from Los Angeles, and it is a beautiful day today, I gotta tell you. And you know us Californians, we love California. Here we go. Bringing up Joel Wynkoop. He's been patiently waiting. I don't see his thing here. Oh, come on. Let's see. Oh my goodness, this again. We're gonna try it. I'm going to invite you on, Joel. Give me a second here. There you are. There's your invite, Joel. So you're gonna go ahead and see that. I heard it pops up in your notifications or whatever. Usually at this point, I just fill time while we wait for the guest to come on with a bad camera angle and poor audio. But we're going to see if we can get around that today. The one thing that I do like is that he's a director. Joel Wynkoop's a director, so we can pretty much guarantee some wacky stuff. The one things that I know is that when I interview actors and stuff, they're all whatever and whatever. But the directors are unique cats. I promise you that. The directors, for some reason, are not the same as the actors. So, I wanted to tell you something else. I noticed my kid has a snake, and while we wait for Joel, I'm going to tell you another story. My kid has a snake, and we feed it these frozen rats. Well, we don't feed it. She feeds it. I don't do this, and I don't care about anyone's opinion on these rats. Please don't do that. Don't write me a letter. Don't care. They're frozen, and what we do is we thaw them out. But interestingly enough, the box says not for human consumption. Who was the reason for that warning? That's what I want to know. I mean, because obviously, right, companies have to protect themselves. So they're like, yo, we better tell people this frozen treat is not for people. What if in the apocalypse, right? What if in the apocalypse there's like this thing and you're like, yo, the pet store, and they're like frozen rats, and you're like, hey, man, that's an option. I saw this episode once where Daryl was eating a worm because he was so hungry. And interestingly enough, I just watched this crazy thing because, man, I study constantly. It's all I do. I read, I watch documentaries. It's like all I do is I just learn stuff. And so I could come on here and tell you guys this crap. But it's not crap. It's wonderful history you're learning. Handsome History. That's the name of my show. That's mine. Trademark Handsome History. Jason Zalatkis. Coffee Breaks Thursdays. I own that shit now. Anyway, my wife thinks I should come on and talk to you guys. I should do a show about hip hop because there is nothing I know more about than hip hop. I swear to you. Like I know so much about rap, you can't even believe it. You would not know that about me, but I am a rap historian. So anyway, moving back to what I was talking about. Daryl eats this worm on The Walking Dead because they're so hungry because they've run out of food. And I saw this video of people under Stalin and during Stalin's reign, I guess would have been during World War II, and they were starving in Russia, but he was hiding it from the press. But there's footage of them like eating like the wood pulp out of the furniture. Like, and man, I just thought, that is so crazy. Like as an actor, I look at those things. I look at how do you portray someone who's starving, and to eat the wood pulp is beyond any imagination I can even think of. I mean, this is, and on Veterans Day, I didn't mean to bring us down with a World War II story. I got plenty of those. Fun fact, my grandfather was there when they raised the flag on Iwo Jima. He got to see that whole, thing they did with the flag. Which I thought was pretty interesting. He told us that as kids, that was like a thing we knew. Of course, let's see what else I got. Oh, I got another fun fact for you. I just found this out. Warren Madden, producer Warren Madden, can you get our guest on today? Because I'm going to run out of fun facts. No, I'm not. Here we go. We'll go to Toy of the Week. Oh my God, Toy of the Week is so amazing. I really should show it to you. But I'm really proud of Toy of the Week. And you guys know I'm a toy guy at heart. You guys know that's how I made my money. That's how I became me. But let's talk about this other thing that's crazy. In the UK, our guest last week was the Bloody Brit, Claire Fluff Llewellyn, and we talked a lot about the differences of the UK and America. And what we learned was that the UK sucks. But I'm just kidding to my fans in the UK. Please don't cancel me. I'm teasing you guys. I love don't cancel me. Anyway, so check this out. A bakery in the UK has been told that the sprinkles they're using, the sprinkles, I call them Jimmies because I spent a lot of time on the East Coast and my grandparents called them Jimmies, and they're called Jimmies. If you call them sprinkles, you're wrong. They're called Jimmies, dude. So in the UK, I guess they call them sprinkles, whatever. So I told you they suck there, so don't even listen to that. But they can't use the sprinkles because the sprinkles they're using are made here in the United States. And we allow a chemical in our sprinkles that, my wife is wrong. She just said sprinkles. Girl. Anyway, I don't talk to you like that. Hi, Randy. Thanks for watching the show. Anyway, the UK, we have an ingredient in our sprinkles here in the United States that they are not allowed to have in their sprinkles in the UK. So they've been told that their sprinkles they're using on they don't make donuts, but they make this like cakey looking thing, and they sprinkle it with these sprinkles. And they've been told that they can't use those sprinkles; they're illegal in the United Kingdom because they have an ingredient we allow that they don't. Now that ingredient is allowed in other foods in the United Kingdom, but not allowed in sprinkles. So these sprinkles are illegal, and this bakery is like distraught. They're like going to go out of business because they're relying on this sprinkle. So here's a real question. UK says you can't have the sprinkle. We say it's okay. This company, obviously, they're like, no other sprinkles will work because no one will buy our cakes with these other sprinkles. So what the heck is in the sprinkles in the United States that is so damn addictive? Like seriously, like that's a real question. Is there something in our sprinkles that I say we're the greatest country on earth, right? But we're dumb. Like, we allow a lot of stuff we shouldn't. And, that's my opinion. It's my goddamn show. I don't care what you think, but and you know that about me. But the deal is that what do we allow, right? Like sprinkles. And I don't mean, again, this is just a hypothetical debate here. Like, obviously I'm not going to stop eating sprinkles. I'm not, but when I shake them on now, I might be going, is there an addictive property? How come the United Kingdom doesn't allow that? I think that's why McDonald's in Paris is better. I've eaten at the McDonald's in Paris, and it's just better food than what we have here. And you guys know I love McDonald's. I talk about McDonald's all the time. Like, it's such a beautiful day here in Los Angeles. I thought to myself, I should go for a run on the beach. And then I thought, I'm more likely to go to McDonald's, man, than I am to go running on the beach, because they're just as far from each other. I mean, like I could get down the street to both of them and, let's face it. McDonald's is what it is. And the McRib is back. And I love the McRib personally. Again, this is another one of those things. Some people are going to say we shouldn't do that. I'm willing to bet the United Kingdom is like not so cool on the McRib. We're going to try to bring our guest on again. Producer's saying try to bring him on. Once I send an invite, it's sort of out of my hands. I can't bring him on. He literally has to accept the invite or we're going to bring someone else on and just wing it. So, because I will wing it. But I'm here, but can't find how to hook up. So there's got to be, I can't cancel an invite. So you're going to have to somehow find that invite, which I guess is, goes to your, the little bell thing where your notifications go, or there's got to be something that says it. I don't really know, you guys. I've never been on that side of, how to accept one of these shows. All the other shows I do are not Facebook Live, which is why their guests show up and are able to get on and those things. And we wonder that sometimes. We wonder if the guest, if this is maybe not the best format to do the show. However, I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna move on to other things until Joel figures it out, or we're just gonna keep talking. Recently, Paul Rudd was just voted sexiest man alive, and I thought that's really interesting. And it isn't that I don't agree. I definitely agree. I definitely think he is something special. My kid loves him. Who doesn't love Paul Rudd? And that was even in a commercial once. There was this commercial, I think it was a Super Bowl commercial, and it was like Seth Rogen and Amy Schumer, and they were like, we can all agree. I think it was, during, how like America's like divided, so there's all these like companies that want to act like they're going to unify us, like Budweiser. Like, oh shit, you know what, your political views are what they are, but hey, let's all have a Bud. Like, that ain't going to happen, dude. But the company, they were looking for things in the ad that we can all agree on, and the thing in the ad said, well, we can all agree that that Paul Rudd, everybody likes Paul Rudd, and I never forgot that. As an actor, And that's definitely not going to be me. I'm not that guy that everybody likes. I'm that guy that has an opinion. I'm that guy that doesn't tolerate a whole lot on set, man. If we got work to do, let's do the work. There's time for fooling around and there's time for working. So maybe I'm not that guy. I'm definitely not the guy everybody likes. But that's not the point. The point is that Paul Rudd is. And Paul Rudd, being voted the sexiest man alive, the first thing he says is, I couldn't believe it. Well, not that he can't believe he's the sexiest man alive, but when he went on the Endgame set, he'd been working out. He'd apparently been eating tons of salmon, watching his weight, and he'd been training, and he'd been doing all this stuff. And the guy looks amazing. He looks amazing. I think he just turned 50 years old or something. The guy looks amazing. It's unbelievable, right? And he sees Chris Hemsworth, and he goes, why the hell do I bother? And because Hemsworth is ridiculous. Like, I was talking to my wife just yesterday, and I'm going, Hemsworth, like some of us, we can make a muscle that looks like it has a snake in our arm, and I like to call it the snake in the arm. I think that's why people call it pythons, and stuff like that. I'm not as, I call it snake in the arm. So I guess that's corny, like Woody. There's a snake in my boot. Well, there's a snake in my arm. But Hemsworth looks like he has a freaking anaconda package of snakes in his arm. Like, I saw his arm and I was like, dude, there's muscles in there? Like, the guy's ridiculously built. So I can imagine you're the sexiest man alive. And then you think of Chris Hemsworth and you're like, what the hell is, what can you even do at that point? So I started to think, is there always somebody bigger? Is there always somebody better? I'm watching this show. I watched this show, Comedians in Cars with Jerry Seinfeld. And I just started watching it. And honestly, because I'm kind of bored with everything else. And my wife doesn't want to watch these horrible serial killer documentaries that I study. And I meant watch. I don't study them. I watch them. So, Comedians in Cars with Jerry Seinfeld. And I'm watching the show, and I don't remember my point of the damn thing. Why I brought up I was watching the show. I totally just, anyway, losing my train of thought. Let's see. Let's check in again with producer Warren Madden and see if he can't get our illustrious guest Joel Wynkoop on today, who I'm very excited to talk to. Honestly, I'm really hoping he comes on. Let's see. I'm trying to look at my clock. Wow. I have talked 25 minutes. We're going to continue because I had more stuff to say. I just can't remember what it is. Oh. Let's move on. If I remember the Seinfeld thing, I remember the Seinfeld thing. Who cares? I'm sure if I watch the tape back, it'll come back to me. I always do that. I always watch the show again, and then I go, oh, that's what you were going to say there. But in the fly, man, whatever. It goes out. It doesn't really matter. So, I read this story, and it was about self-driving cars. And that's a thing here, and especially here in California, we have self-driving cars like crazy. It's like, because we have Tesla here, and we have, basically everything good, is here in California. So self-driving cars. But there's in San Francisco, where I used to live, there's this street. And the self-driving cars of this new company called Waymo. I don't know anything about Waymo. I'll probably do an ad for them. If you're going to shop holiday season this year, you're going to see me. You're going to see me in an ad if you're shopping holiday season this year. These self-driving cars, for some reason, there's this like lone street. There's this like cul-de-sac that these people live on. And for some reason, the self-driving cars all keep going there. And they don't know why. And I don't know why they don't know why. To me, that seems like a technological problem, but they don't know why. The cars just keep going through this cul-de-sac. So these people are not used to having any cars on their street. And the next thing you know, they have this like fleet. I guess it's like 50 cars a day going in their cul-de-sac that are these self-driving cars. And so they call this company Waymo. They go, why are all these stupid cars coming down our street? These like unmanned vehicles. How surreal is that? How surreal is that? That's gotta feel like dystopian, right? You walk outside and you're like, the hell? Like, self-driving cars? Like, man, I would get a government conspiracy in my mind. Like, I would freak. I would be, I would be like, what is this? What is happening? So they, anyway, so these people start tripping out and they call Waymo, and Waymo says, we don't know why. The program tells these self-driving cars to scour the neighborhood, and they get caught in this, I guess it's a roundabout. They get caught in this roundabout and they can't get out. And so they keep going through, and then they get into this cul-de-sac where they're all doing this U-turn. I mean, I can't even imagine what that's like. Like 50 of these I guess they're like white SUVs that are like going through. Like, what a bizarre thing to see. And that's in San Francisco. You know, and again, I give Florida a lot of crap, and we're still trying to get our guest Joel Wynkoop on. Maybe we can get a backup guest. Is someone else there who wants to talk to me? Who really does want to talk to me? Who wants to be on the show? I'm thinking about doing that. I will bring you on. If you're watching the show and you're an actor or you're a director, hit me up right now. Let's do it. Let's just do it live. Let's just wing it. Maybe you don't know about the Craglon Incident 3 that Joel Wynkoop directed. Also starring people who have been on my show, Kim Cole and Tracy Sheldon. So shout out to those people. But, you know, if you want to be on the show, it looks like no one does. So I'll just keep going on. That's okay if people don't want to be on the show. Everyone wants to be on the show. They just, they're actually, we should honestly have a backup guest. We thought we had it all worked out. But most of the guests are booked. We're really booked. We're all the way into December. Yeah, my daughter should be on the show, but she isn't home. The kids decided to bounce to GameStop. Oh, Daddy, you're doing a show. We're going to GameStop. Warren, let's see if there's another way to get him on or see what we can do there. Let me keep moving on with this other stuff. So, because I've got more stories to tell. And anyway, the self-driving cars, that one was, I just think that's really funny. Moving on from that though. I learned that spiders, okay, now spiders are whack. Spiders are whack. This is the one place I like to go on record and go, God, what are you doing? This is the one place I like to go. I like to say that I don't agree with spiders. Just, that's it. That's it on record. Spiders are, I don't agree with them. Anyway, I don't think they should be here. And if they are, they could be not as hideous. But I learned that spiders are actually afraid of other spiders. And I don't mean themselves, like spiders of the same species. I mean that spiders of different species are afraid of other spider species, which I think is fascinating. Like there are some spiders that scare other spiders. That there are, like the jumping spider is afraid of other spiders. That's a true story, which I think is nuts. I mean, do you think there's whales that are afraid of other whales? I mean, obviously there's fish that are afraid of, mammals and things like that, obviously, but we're talking about the same species. I guess fish eat fish, right? So I guess there's that, but did you know that spiders, that's pretty nuts. Do you think there's things like parrots afraid of, well, parrots I guess is not a good example, but gorillas I guess are afraid of other gorillas. Is that a common thing? Joel, man, I'm dying to talk to you. I know you can't get on. There's nothing I can do once I send that invite, unfortunately. Maybe I have a neighbor who has Facebook. Like, go over there and be like, bro, you gotta let me on. I gotta get on this show, man. It's like important. It's not that important. It's Coffee Breaks Thursdays with Jason Zalakis. It's not that important. So I learned that spiders were afraid of other spiders, which I think is pretty crazy. But maybe that's just a species thing. Maybe that because humans are afraid of other humans for sure. And those kind of things. So maybe that's a thing. You know what? I'm really sad that Joel Wynkoop is having trouble getting on. He made a movie that I'm dying to talk about, and it's called Ouija Mummy. Like, you guys, if you know me at all, the Mummy is my favorite of the Universal monsters. He's the best one. And everybody says it's the creature, but you're wrong. It's the Mummy. And my family bought me the Mummy on Fortnite. The skin, the two skins that they offered this time were hang on a minute here. We might have Joel Wynkoop. We do! We have Joel's wife. Now we're in business. Let's see if we can get Joel on here and actually get to the bottom of this Ouija mummy shit. I just said the SH word. I'm going to tell you another story. Even if Joel comes on, I'm going to tell you another story. There he is. Oh, my God. Joel Wynkoop, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Cool. When you said that Facebook thing about going next door, I told my wife, I go, I can't get no next. I said, maybe you can get it on your phone because it ain't coming on my computer.
So there you go. So thank goodness we worked it out. I was just about to tell this wonderful story about when I was a kid. And this guy whose parents determined that I was a bad influence, and I used to take offense to that, right? I used to be like, well, how could I be a bad influence? And now now that, I mean, come on, they're probably right. Who the heck would want to be an actor? It's the worst career choice anyone can make. But this kid growing up, he told me that his dad had gotten upset and called him an SH head. And used that word. He didn't say shithead. He said, you're an SH head. And I always thought as a kid that was like mind-blowing that someone's dad had said that to him.
He didn't want to insult him by using the entire word, so he thought it was okay to call him an SH. Or maybe the kid wouldn't figure it out. Dad, Mr. Thompson called me an SH. Right. And the dad was like, I'm going to go punch him out. Because I know what it means.
So when, are we having audio trouble? You can hear me okay?
Oh, I can hear you perfect. Okay. Am I coming across okay?
You are. I think if I speak over you a little bit, sometimes it may cut our audio off. So I got to be careful not to do that, which I'm prone to do. But I think that's so funny that, like you said, so this kid, his dad called him an SH head, but I was the bad influence.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you remember that scene in Christmas Story where they're like, tell me where you heard that word. And they're like, probably from his dad. And they're like, no. But of course it was from his dad, right?
Yeah.
Joel Wynkoop, thank you for being on the show, Coffee Breaks Thursdays with Jason Zalakis. Let's get right to it.
Jason, thank you. Well, thank you, sir.
It's Veterans Day, and you are referred to as the B-movie veteran.
The B-movie what?
Veteran.
Oh, yeah. So that's kind of cool. They started a thing back in '96 about the King of the B movies, and I just kind of ran with it. I figure it's better than being called the dummy down the street that makes movies, so I'll take it.
How often when you tell people I'm an actor, I'm a director, do they come at you with, well, what have you done that I've seen?
Pretty much all the time. They're like, are you in Independence Day? And I'm like, no. Are you in Superman? Well, no. Are you in RoboCop? No. Evil Dead? No. What are you in then? And then I tell them, and then the next question is, I never heard of that.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that have, heard of the movies I've been in. I've done close to 200 now. And the most fun for me was my wife and I are in line at McDonald's, and this guy turned to me, and I could see him out of the corner of my eye. He's looking at me, and then he quickly looked away, and I leaned to my wife, and I go, I think this guy recognizes from Hollow Screen, which is a thing we do at Busch Gardens. And then so I just looked back to the, the menu screen, and all of a sudden he turns to me, and he goes, I'm sorry, but are you in a movie called Dirty Cop No Donut? And I go, it depends if you liked it or not. He goes, are you kidding me? It's my favorite movie. Are you him? And I go, yeah, that's me. He goes, oh my God, I can't believe it. And he's screaming. He's like, would you sign my receipt? That's my most favorite movie in the world. Oh, it's so awesome. Can you sign this? And I'm like, sure. And everybody's looking at us and everything. And so those, though they don't happen as often as it would be cool, when they do, they are very awesome. I walked into a store in the Palm Beach Mall years ago, and I had a shirt on that had one of my movies on it, but it was just a picture of me and my son. It said The Creep Returns or something. And as soon as I got in there, he looked at my T-shirt and he goes, The Creep Returns. And then he looked at me in the face, he goes, oh my God, you're Joel Wynkoop, you're the Creep, you're from the movie Creep. And he went out into the mall from his little Suncoast motion picture shop, went outside in the mall, and he started yelling. He goes, Joel Wynkoop, the Creep is in my video store. Come in and meet the Creep. And it was so, and I don't, I'm not going to get mad. These people are recognizing me. I got to be cool to them. So I was like, man, this is awesome. So any of these times I get those, I was picking up my wife one day, and I had my suit and tie on because I just came to the show, and the guy is across the street, and he goes, Mr. Wynkoop, I watch your show all the time. Can I have an autograph? And I saw my wife and I go, this is too cool to pass up. I kind of put my hand up to my wife and she's like, yeah, go. The audience is calling. So I walked across the street and can you give a hug to my wife? Sure. So those little times mean so much to me because I'm not like Tom Cruise or something. I'm just a guy that's done a bunch of movies and shows and commercials. And when you get recognized, it's a lot of fun. One time I was leaving Hall of Scream one night, and we're doing Hall of Scream. It's 3 a.m. I'm leaving, and some guy goes, "Dude, I saw your commercial last night. It's awesome." And I was like, I don't know who this guy is. We got a whole bunch of actors working there. I don't know who this guy is. He saw me on TV, and I'm going, what did you see me on? He goes, the Repticon commercial. I go, you mean the one I did for practically for free and they've been running it for like 8 years? Yeah, I know that one you're talking about. So yeah, those are great times, Jason.
I love the stories. You commented on like 9 things I want to talk about. The first one I want to mention is, do you remember when Howard Dean ran for president and he was really hyper? And do you remember that? Like when that happened, that Howard Dean was like so excited, like, yeah. Do you remember that?
Oh gosh, I don't want to come off like a fake guy by going, yeah, I remember. So I'm going to be honest and say I don't remember.
Well, I want to say your level of energy is Howard Dean level right now. So if you go after this, if you Google it, you'll see what I'm talking about. I love how excited you are. And I wanted to talk about Dirty Cop No Donut, which you brought up, because that's why I had sprinkles facts. I don't know if you caught that earlier, but the United Kingdom decided that our sprinkles are no good. So obviously a dirty cop gets no donut. Is that true?
Dirty Cop got his donut. If you watch the movie, there's actually a scene where I go, donuts, and I tear the donut thing open it, but then I kind of try to close it back and put it back on the shelf and walk away without paying for it. So if that tells you anything, I don't know.
So it's kind of like Bad Dog, though, in that respect, right? The title, like it's, like you're not a good cop.
Yeah, it started out as, what was it called? It was Low Down Dirty Cop, but then there was a thing with, what's his name's Low Down Dirty Shame, and it became like an entanglement of like procedures and names and titles. So our distributor, Ron Bonk from SRS Studios, went with, or I think Tim came up with the idea. He goes, we'll just go with Dirty Cop No Donut, because it was going to be Low Down Dirty Cop. So that's how Dirty Cop No Donut came out. And yeah, he's a bad cop, but he's kind of an anti-hero. If you watch the movie, you find out during the collapse of the whole movie, his dad's not a cop. He's just in this imaginary world where Starsky and Hutch are his dad, and Columbo's his uncle, and all these things are his reality that really aren't. So he's wants to deliver what he thinks is good by pulling over speeders and picking up prostitutes and busting down the doors of drug dealers, but then he's really perverting it by taking their drugs while he's there and having his way with a prostitute when he's supposed to just take her to jail. So it's his own deluded mind that he comes out with his sort of police vengeance.
And did you write it?
My partner, Tim Ritter. It was the reason we did it this way, because when Cops, we did Dirty Cop No Donut, I think back in 97, and Cops is on, and Tim looked at that. He goes, I want to do something like that. That's reality based. So Joel, I know you can do this stuff because you can improv so much stuff like on the spot. And so what I'm going to do is just give like 7 to 9 scenarios, and then I'm just going to let you go crazy with it. So he gave me the hat, the call. Because the first night we were shooting, I was walking, and I go, was that okay? He goes, yeah. He goes, but you don't get it, man. You're not talking to the camera. And I go, well, an actor never talks to the camera. You never break the fourth wall. He goes, no, this is like Cops. Remember when the cop turns around, looks at the guy in the back and goes, we're going to pull over this guy because he's not meeting procedures. And I go, oh, I got it now. So then I was like walking with the camera going, all right, we're going to go see Tommy Boy here. Tommy Boy's in the news, in and out. He's got like a revolving door on the police station. He goes in, then he gets out, but not this time. We're going to see what he's doing in there. And then I kick open the door and I go in and I start busting up his stuff. And I go, you stole the stuff from Johnson's jewelry store. And you snort that cocaine, boy. And I slam his head down. So, and then when I get done, I'll get them all drugged out. I'm like, all right, stop doing drugs in my county. And then I go out the door and I go find the next person to bust. So
in 90,
it's not the kind of cop you'd want to run into.
So in 1997, you guys are putting this together, and you thought, let's make a documentary about cops.
Yeah, it was based on cops because Tim really felt bad because then I sent him the behind the scenes, and it was where people were like on fire and their skin was melting off their bones. He goes, "No, I don't really want to know if I want to do that because you know what the policeman has to really go through." And he goes, "No, I think I'm making fun of it." He goes, "But I'm not. I'm trying to make a documentary, but I'm trying to make it so it is reality based, but we just take it to that little other piece that you know, for not really for dark comedy." But then even when you think about it, when you're trying to think about it, oh, it doesn't go as bad as that. Yes, it does. If you really look into real police cases, there's all kinds of stuff that happens that you would be like, oh my God, I don't believe it. So I could really think some of the stuff we did in Dirty Cop No Donut could possibly happen. You don't know. Stuff comes up, you know, every day that you're like, I can't even believe that's, you know, happening, you know?
So
Like when
speaking
the
of
World
that,
Trade Towers were hit, you were escaped from New York. You're like, oh yeah, like a plane's going to land on top of the Empire State Building, or planes are going to land on the World Trade Towers. And here we have planes crashing into them. And so it's like, it used to be art copies life. Now it's life copies art, it seems to be. I don't know. I'm crazy.
well, it's interesting. It's interesting that when you went for the wackiest story you could think of, living in Florida, you went to New York. But let's talk about cops. I mean, not necessarily cops, but let's talk about, you live in Florida. So I imagine that you have the best stories for cops. I imagine that like you guys have zombies, you have killer manatees, you know, which we've talked about on this show. I don't know, you know, Tracy Sheldon, of course, I think on her episode, you worked with her in Craglawn Incident 3. And
yes, we were shooting a scene, and I asked her, Tracy, would you like to be in this? And she goes, oh my God, Joel, yes, I would love to work on something with you. So yeah, it's a small scene, but it's really fun. She did a great job, and she's actually in part 3.
On our show, with her, we talked about killer manatees. Is that something you've run into?
I haven't, but that would be another thing because it's Florida. You got the manatees. I mean, it's crossed my mind once in a while. What if those were monster like sharks or something, a crossbreed of shark manatee, and let me go swim with the manatee, and all of a sudden your head's bitten off. I don't know.
Shark manatee could be like a movie. Shark manatee, like, so you were in another ridiculous premise, or did you produce this one? I believe but Clownado. We've talked about that on the show numerous times.
Pretty much everything I'm in is ridiculous. But I have a lot of fun doing them. Clownado was awesome. I just did another show and I was telling them about it. Todd Sheets is the director and the writer of Clownado. And he was at Tampa Bay Screams, and he had told me, he goes, Joel, he goes, I've always wanted to put you in a movie. And we sponsored him down here for another event with him, with his movie. And so Todd said yes. Then he put me in Dreaming Purple Neon. Then he said, he goes, I want you to be a truck driver in his werewolf movie, but it didn't work out. But then he said, when Clownado came, he goes, I want you to be my character Hunter, and you're going to pilot the plane, and you save everybody, and you're the one that flies up into the tornado and drops the bomb. So I was like, all for that. And I tell you what, Todd was awesome to work for because he flew me out to Missouri, put me up in a hotel. I was there for 7 days. He took me out to a grocery store, bought all my groceries. We filled my refrigerator because I stayed in the hotel, and then just had a blast, you know, making his movie. The one day I showed up for the shoot and I see them talking to the pilot, and I didn't want to get too, you know, like pushing myself on them. But the pilot comes over and he goes, I know you're supposed to pilot this plane up there with me with you, but we've rethink it. He goes, if I put you even touching those controls without you being a pilot, he goes, I will lose my license like before we even begin to do it. He goes, so I'm going to borrow your jacket and I will be you in the plane scenes. And I was fine with that because what if I got up there and sneezed and put the plane into a nosedive and killed everybody? It'd be my fault. I'd live. Everybody would die, and, you know, I'd have to put myself away or something.
I love how you phrase that.
It would be, the Clownado was a lot of fun.
It would be my fault. I would live and everyone else would die. That's where you went.
Absolutely. I anytime if anybody like somebody says, oh, I'm so depressed, let me run into that car with 9 people so I can kill myself. No, you will live and the 9 people will die, and then you'll be worse off than if you wanted to do that. I mean, you're not going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt someone else. So, you know. I wouldn't want to be responsible for anybody in that airplane if I was the one to cause it to crash.
Yeah, I won't even if they will offer a stunt person in place of me in a plane, great, go for it. And same thing when I shot this commercial for Dolby, they said we want to put you on a speedboat and go under the Golden Gate Bridge. I said, oh hell no. I said I gotta be somewhere else. They said we'll get a stuntman who looks like you. Then of course they couldn't, so they put a bag over me, and so it doesn't look like me. But let's move on. I want to talk to you about another film that I don't know anything about this movie, but just the title alone, Ouija Mummy.
Oh, Ouija Mummy.
So
yeah, Ouija Mummy was fun. That's for Seb Godin and Dustin Hubbard. And they wanted me to play this pizza guy called Karate Irving. And I said, well, if it's Karate Irving, maybe I get to throw some kicks and stuff. It'll be fun. And so, yeah, it wasn't a serious thing. It was just a fun, silly thing. This girl, and my wife plays the lady that is in the movie that brings this mummy thing to life. And so when this mummy attacks this girl through the Ouija board, the guys are in the middle of ordering pizza, and I show up, and then I try to fight the mummy, but I think it rips my leg off when I throw a front kick, and it tears my leg off. Yeah, and it's just a little fun movie, and it was enjoyable, and it's funny to watch. You watch it, and I always say with my movies, you don't have to like them. I'm just trying to entertain you for a couple hours, man. I just want to make you laugh or go, hey, that was pretty cool. I just want to entertain you. That's all.
Joel Wynkoop, can the Ouija board bring something into the existence? Is that a thing?
Yeah, absolutely. My dad told me a long time ago when I was a kid, because my sister had one and they used to play with it, and some stuff did happen at the house. And my dad is a preacher. And he said, all my stuff I learned pretty much, from my dad. I joke around and say everything I learned was from Marvel Comics, but it was my dad. And one of them is, when you're on the Ouija board, you are consulting with the beyond. And when I asked my dad about astral projection, he goes, yes, people can do that, but it's very dangerous, because when you're astral projecting, you're gone. Your soul's out of your body, moving around, seeing things to come back and tell you. While you're out of your body, something else can move into your body, and it will not let your soul back. So Ouija board was the same thing as messing around with the Ouija board. You could actually interact with something that will come into existence. So for me, it's not the best idea. I remember when Tim wanted to shoot in a haunted house down in Jupiter, and I go, no thanks, man. I'm not going near that place. I have enough problems without getting demons involved. So yeah, that's my belief. Believe what you want, but that's how I've been brought up and what I believe. So
sure, and you know what, and the one thing that I know is that anybody who does answer, because I ask that question a lot. It's one of the things I like to ask on the show. I like to ask, are ghosts real? I like to ask, is the Ouija board real? It's something I think is fun to ask horror actors, and I've gotten a variety of answers. But the one thing that I notice is that people who say that it is real are people who have had an experience, someone who has seen something, who has felt something. And other people like me have not felt that, or whatever. So the Ouija board is real. Are mummies real?
Mummies are real, but I don't think they come back like in the movies. I think that's a cool, fun, universal monsters thing where he's like, this is the case of Tutankhamun. It says if we broke the curse, he will come alive and seek us. I think that part's all fun. I don't see mummies coming to life and coming after people. Mummies are real, because in the pharaohs, when they die, they would wrap them in the sheets and they put them in their big golden things and they shove them into the walls. And yeah, people go there and they dig it up and they pull it out, but I'm pretty sure that's as far as it goes. I haven't seen in the paper any mummy attacks.
They shove them into the walls like filing system. Like, forget that guy. Put him away.
Pull out Tutankhamun.
Okay, so is the mummy's curse then? And not necessarily, I don't mean the movie, but they open tombs and then people they die later. I mean, if the Ouija can contact spirits or whatever, is a curse of a tomb, is that real then? Like, where do you draw the line?
Yeah, that's part I've never even imagined that, thought of that, aside from watching, the Mummy's Curse or something. But supposedly, and they say that too about voodoo queens, there's I forget what my wife knows the voodoo queen that's buried, and they say if you go to her grave and she will help you, if you desecrate it, you'll be run over in 6 days and stuff like that. But it's a lot of stuff is just everything that people just come up with and can say, or there's always, this history of something. So who knows? I've never run across it. So who am I to say, oh, that's all fake? I don't know that personally.
Wouldn't that be?
I do know. What's that?
Wouldn't that be the most insane way to kill yourself? You're like, yo, I know if I play that videotape, I'm going to get that phone call. So if you're like, yo, look, watch me do it. Like what if you intended? Wouldn't that be the most insane way to commit suicide?
But then it would turn it around on you because you want to do it that way. You go, I want this to happen this way. Then it goes, well, I'm not going to let it happen that way. I'm going to take your wife or your family instead and turn it around on you. You shouldn't have asked for it. It's like, don't always ask, because you might get what you asked for. It just might be twisted and warped, and that would be horrible. What if you want something against yourself? I'm done. I hate my life. I just hate everything. I'm going to go on this game, and I'm going to tell the game, come get me and drag me into hell so I've got out of existence. And the game's going, I got a better thing. I'm going to take every family member you have, suck them into hell, and torture them immensely, but I'm going to leave you alive because that'll be worse for you. Right?
Once again, you have gone way further than why did they get sucked to hell? Like, I'm going to torture your family. Like, it could have been cool. Yo, I'll just kill them. But you had to take them down and get tortured. Like, is that the mind of Joel Wynkoop?
That's where it's going to go if you're messing around with the demons and stuff. They just want to pull you into hell and torture you.
Let that be a warning.
Be smarter than that.
If you screw with demons, man, you're likely to get tortured. You people.
That's right.
So
we've had things at our house here, and there's no explanation for it, because my friend came one time and he had a phone like I'm working on now, a little phone, and I don't know how it came up. Something he goes, I got this little ghost app and I can put it here and push the button, and he goes, oh, these are all spirits all around your room. And I'm going, yeah, right. It's programmed to have all that crap floating around in there. But then he came out of my office into our living room where we have a high-low, and he tripped, and I heard him go, ouch. And I came out of the room. I go, hey, are you okay? Did you trip over that? And he goes, yeah. And I go, heard you say ouch. He goes, I didn't say anything. I go, no. I go, Chris, I clearly heard you say ouch. He goes, no. Then we looked at that thing, and it was the only thing on the board. It said ouch in the middle. And I go, that's crazy. How do those letters, ouch, know to come up in there when you said ouch? Does it hear you and spell it out? I go, that's too weird. And then I did something with a knife. I'd moved it in the sink and I put it down, and then I went on my way and the damn thing said knife. And I go, well, see, that's how stupid it is. It's saying knife. And then I went, wait a minute, I was just in the kitchen. I put a knife in the sink. And then I had messed with my keys for some reason, hung them up on the key hook. And like a minute later, the damn thing, or less than a minute, goes keys. And I go, yeah, this is stupid. Now it's saying keys. Wait a minute, I just hung my keys up. And then it monitored over my wife, where my buddy said, he goes, it's hovering over Kathy where she's sleeping on the couch. And the damn thing said sleep. Now, come on. Who can program something to do all that shit? Are you saying there's a little person inside the phone running around going, sleep?
Well,
ouch.
Let me back up for a second. So this guy, trips, and then the word ouch comes out. So the ghost felt something. Or the ghost had. Would you say that it was a phantom pain?
No, well, I don't know. He tripped. He caught himself. So there's no reason to say anything, because you're like, it didn't hurt you, but maybe this thing was talking to him, going, ooh, like let's say you tripped, or let's say you tripped and bashed your head into a gas pump, and I went, oh, dude, I felt that 100 miles away. Maybe that's what the phone was saying. Said, Chris, oh, you got hit.
You're saying ouch. The ghost was like, oh shit, dude. Oh man, like
maybe.
Could you imagine being a ghost and watching things like that? Being a ghost could be hysterical.
I think about God all the time in the heavens, looking down, going, that was stupid. What'd you do that for, moron? I'm sure we have a comical Lord, and he looks down once in a while and he goes, well, that's not what I would have done with that money, but whatever, that's your decision. I gave you power of your own decision making, Who's to say, right?
I just heard this guy won the $2 million lottery 2 times. He just won it a second time. And so how do people do that, right? Like, if you want, God, he goes, oh, here's the money or whatever. And then he said, well, he was going to invest in his house and take a vacation.
Yeah.
I mean, so let me, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say and I've done it too, and that's what's funny about it. Because, like when you pray for somebody to live, that they may die, they may live. It's kind of in God's hands, and that's such an easy way to get out of it. But and then there's people that'll sit, okay, I pray, Lord, that this lottery is going to bring, and that's fine. There was that thing on Walker, Texas Ranger with Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris says to the guy, he goes, well, I never won the lottery, but I pray about it. And Chuck Norris looks at him and goes, did you ever play the lottery? Well, no. Well, God, there's an old story. There's an old joke I tell. It's funny. And it's about a guy drowning in the ocean. He's drowning, and a boat comes up and goes, hey, we're here to save you. No, I prayed to God. God's going to come save me. The boat goes, okay. And the boat leaves. Another boat comes. We're going to save you. They throw him the internet. No, God will save you. Go, get out of here. He leaves. Another boat comes. Finally, he drowns in the ocean. He gets to heaven. He goes, God, what's up? I drowned. I prayed to you. Why didn't you save me? You dumbass. I sent you 3 boats.
Yeah. I've heard the same story, but I heard it as helicopter, as a boat. I've heard it as God's, I sent you all these things. God will save me. God will save me. I sent you all these things. And my wife says to me sometimes, because typically about an acting role, I'll go, man, I don't know. The director, I don't know. And, or the contract, I don't know. I don't know if I like this role. And my wife will go, is that the helicopter? Maybe you should get off.
I had that one day, and I don't know if that's where it came from, if it was me, if it's turmoil, if the Lord's talking to me, but I got out of bed and I got off my phone with my agent. He goes, Joel, you go down there, blah, blah. And I go, okay, man. And I hang up and I go, nah, I don't want to go. I'm not going to get it. I'm going to go back to bed. And then something said, get up. I got back. I called my agent. I go, Shelby, look, I guess I don't want to go down. He goes, I don't give a damn what you do. Just do whatever you want to do. I'm not worried about it. Okay. Hang up with him, get back to bed. Then I woke up. I did this like 3 times, and finally I told my wife, I said, screw it, I'm going to go. And I got the lead role.
Amazing.
So
right?
Was it just a whatever, or was it really meant for me to go down and get that sheriff role that 3 times I told myself, I'm not going. I've had other times, and things just happen. I don't say everything's like a miracle. Things just happen. One time I got my buddy an acting job, Bob Glazier, in a movie I was doing, and they go, yeah, we give him your role. And I went, oh God, that backfired on me.
Oh, that's happened to me too,
he got my role, me trying to help him. But then they gave me something else, and I didn't like it, but I was like, just do it. It's not important. And then 2 hours before the shoot, he calls me, hey, you're coming down here, right? And I go, yeah. He goes, how'd you like the role of the police captain O'Malley? I go, you kidding? I would love that role. And he goes, okay, we're giving it to you. The other actor, for some reason, didn't show up. He goes, we'll see you on your call. I go, well, I haven't looked really at the script. I did send him an audition because I did everybody. He goes, we're not worried about it. We know you're professional. We know we can give you the script. And nowadays, I can pretty much look at the script and go, okay, boom, I got it. And that's what I was able to do. And just because on the part of, them calling me up and saying, here it is. So is that related? Is God doing that for me? Is it a coincidence? Is it just they like my acting and they thought I'd fill this in? So it's kind of, everything. I don't know. I went off script there.
No, and you should. It's great. For me, I lay in bed and I think, why did I take this stupid role? I don't want to do this. And I go, oh man, I don't want to get up. And why? You know what? I'm not getting paid enough or whatever And then I get there, and then I lay in bed and I think, well, it's better to be an actor than be home, right? Like,
yeah.
Maybe I should be on tape instead of playing Fortnite all day, which I'm prone to do. So let's move.
Well, it's nice to get paid too.
It is. Do you? And I know this is off topic, but do you have any favorite video games? Do you ever play that? Do you ever play anything?
It's funny. One time, Joe Davison, he's an actor friend of mine, and he told me, he goes, Joel, do you play any video games? Because he was going to do a documentary on me, and it just never happened. But he was like, what kind of video games do you like? And I go, I like, Galaxina, Defender, and Gyrus. He goes, oh, not those kind, not stand-up games. I mean, on the ones on your TV. And I go, no, Mario Brothers. That's about it, man. That's all. Oh, that's not. I said, take me to an arcade where we're standing up and I'll beat everybody in the room on asteroids because I can go for 3 days on that sucker. But that's how I grew up there, the 70s and the video, places in the early 80s. So that would be my thing with, you bring, okay, here, my kids would do that. They're trying to teach us their video games and they're playing, they go, and my wife's got the control and my son's going, XO, triangle, left, XO, and we're going, shut up! It's much easier in the big thing with the big thing standing up pushing buttons.
It's so much easier. Like I make it a point to set the high score on Galaga in any arcade I'm in. Like, and and I play a few modern games because I have a 14-year-old, but any arcade I walk in, they have those vintage games, man, it's over.
Me and you would be awesome. We would be awesome playing a game. I used to have a friend that would. I was in Palm Beach and he was in West Palm, and he would get the top score on Gyrus, and I would purposely drive from my place, or Lake Park, which is West Palm, basically, drive 50, 60 miles up the coast to Fort Pierce just to walk into that video store, and I would look up and it would say Warren Fuss up there, top guy, Gyrus, and I go, not today, Warren. And I would beat it. And he would come in and he'd look up to see his top score, and he'd see Joel Wynkoop, top score, Gyrus, and he'd go, that son of a bitch. And then he would go beat my score, and we would do that ruthlessly until the video store shut down. I was always there.
Until the video store shut down. So you did that ruthlessly until like 2012.
Well, it went down. No, they went down in the 90s. But yeah, that would be. Yeah, but great fun to just keep going up there. And I had one guy. I would think I was waiting for some sub shop to close. I was waiting for a friend of mine. He was waiting for his girlfriend who was working there. He goes, "Oh, you want to play some video games?" And I go, "Sure." And we started playing. We played like 7 or 8 games. And he finally looks at me and he goes, "Is there anything in here that you cannot play?" I go, "Not really. I think I can beat you at everything." So,
right.
Not pinball. But Gyrus and asteroids and, all those kind of things that me and you grew up with, apparently.
Not pinball, though.
But no, I really didn't care about. I remember my brother-in-law would give me money. I go, "Arlen, can I have some more money?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, here you go." And then I'd go play more my games. But he was into pinball. And pinball, you kept winning and stuff. I just come back and go, "Okay, I'm out of money. I want to go." Until, like asteroids, you get an extra ship, or Gyrus, you keep getting ships. So you can end up with 15 ships on the bottom of your screen that and once you get blown up, you pull the next one up and you keep going. So yeah, those things to me were great.
Did you ever see the movie King of Kong, where Billy Mitchell, he's the best Donkey Kong player in that world? Did you ever see that movie?
No, that would be cool to see though. See, I would enjoy that.
Oh, it's this brilliant movie where this guy, he's a video game protege, and this is a true story. And he grew up. It's a documentary, and he like grew up playing Donkey Kong, and he's so amazing. And then as an adult, he's like hung up on being the king of Donkey Kong. And another adult figures it out and beats his score. And these guys have like the biggest geek off in history. And this,
that's cool.
And this guy Billy Mitchell like cheats to win, and I mean, and so in the movie Pixels, Peter Dinklage's character is based off Billy Mitchell. He's this like protege who cheated to win.
Oh, okay. And I did see Pixels, so I know what you're talking about. I did see a doc about some guy. I think it was in New York. It was an old video store, and it was all about, that they would go in there and then they play the games, but they also had these others set up like the other gaming we were talking about, and they were hung up. And then another guy, that might have been the same thing, maybe.
No. This movie is about a dude who went on like circuit tour, like being the Donkey Kong master.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it. That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's called King of Kong, and it's a weird documentary about this guy who's stuck up because he was the king of Donkey Kong. Like, can you imagine?
Oh, that's cool.
Like walking around, that's your badge. You're like, yo, I'm the best Donkey Kong player in the whole world. I mean, who's going to take that seriously? Not girls, probably, right?
Well, yeah, but you're going to get recognized for it. And that's just the same way, like when people say King of the B movies, it's like, just get yourself away from that where you don't want to be, because maybe you're saying, well, I want to be the king of A titles. But if you've got something, if you're like king of the best fisherman, or you're king of the video games, that's not hurting anything, because that's what you're known for. And then maybe someday somebody comes to you and says, hey, I want to do this documentary about you because you are the king of these. And that's great. That's no different than Tom Cruise washing dishes, and then one day he gets to do, I'm going to do this stupid movie called Risky Business. It'll probably be nothing. And now look at Tom Cruise now.
Right.
If passed that up way back then and said, no, people will think I'm trying to be a great actor, I should just wash my dishes and not become anything. If you don't jump on that source when it's hot, because a lot of people say, like, I had an agent that goes, well, I don't want to see you do this movie Killing Spree, which is on my shirt. He goes, because it'll wreck your career. My partner had to remind me, you don't even have a career, man. You did 2 movies, Twisted Illusions and Truth or Dare. And I thought about that. If I didn't do Killing Spree, I probably never would have done Wicked Games. Then I probably never would have done Screaming for Sanity. I wouldn't have done Creep. I wouldn't have done Dirty can't worry about what people are going to say either, because you're like, well, I don't want to do this because I'm worried, they'll say I'm doing it wrong and I'll look like an idiot. No, best fisherman, best golfer, best whatever you want to do.
What if it's a commercial for ED? Because I turned that down like a couple weeks ago. And what would you do it?
If it was for what?
A commercial for ED, erectile dysfunction.
Correct. And that's if you know what, I've had that before, because my agent has sent me stuff like that before, and I'm going, ugh, I don't want to be in the 7-Eleven. Like for instance, when I'm in McDonald's, the guy recognizes me at Dirty Cup No Donut. I don't want to be in McDonald's and goes, yo man, you're that erectile dysfunctional dude on TV. Yeah, I got a problem. Let me show you mine, and you tell me what you. No, dude, I'm playing a role. But it's no different than you play a serial killer. And I always use Michael Keaton. He's always, Batman, and his great acting. But if I do it in a movie, it's like, oh, you're so terrible and horrible. But then there's Michael Keaton with a razor blade going, here, kitty, 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 here. In Pacific Heights, he's friggin' scary, man. But if I did it, people would be like, oh, that's just nasty and brutal. You should be ashamed of yourself. Oh, Michael Keaton did it? Oh, that's okay then.
Isn't it weird?
So, yeah, if you want to.
It's weird how people think that you use the products you advertise. I talked about this a little bit before the show, but people think.
I just heard you saying that people are going, well, how's it work? And you're like, dude, I'm just an actor. I don't know how it works. Yeah.
So that happens to you, right? So that's why you can't take a product like ED, because people think you have it, or and who cares if you have it or not? But people, they're like. I always think as an actor, it's weird how people validate what we do. Like, again, going back to that first question, have you done anything we've seen? Like, well, listen, you can't name, anyone in the commercials you've seen. You can't name anyone in half the movies you've seen. If their name isn't Chris Evans or Leonardo DiCaprio, you don't know who they are. But you've watched, you've watched Squid Game, you don't know their names. You've watched Clickbait, you don't know their names. You've watched all these shows, you don't know their names. But somehow, what validates us as actors, and so we do have to be careful, I think, of what we take. Or do you not agree? Do you think take whatever project is thrown your way?
No, I absolutely. My dad said that to me. He said it in a letter before he had passed away. He had just sent it to me, and he said, you don't have what it takes to be an actor, because an actor is a starving person, and they will take any role they can get. And actually, I've done a lot of stuff where they, whether I'm doing a movie, I've been an extra on television shows, TV commercials, same as you. I do run the gambit, but the difference is, and I'll draw this straight from, they used to have them like, I don't know, 70s and 80s. They would say, we're going to show you a reenactment of a crime. And they'll show me stealing a purse and punching somebody in the face and going, I got it, and running off. What was happening too much was, people in real life were seeing these actors that were portraying these, and they were going, call the police, there's the purse snatcher. And before you know it, they're running to payphones, and they got the police come, the police are showing up, hold it right there, you're under arrest. And he's like, dude, I'm an actor, I was just, doing a reenactment. That was happening a lot. So people didn't even want to do those, and you don't see those a lot anymore in their reenactments, unless it's, these totally, programmed ones that my wife and I, we watch on the ID channels and stuff, because what's going on. But these things would just burst into the news. Take a look and see if you know the suspect. Not the friggin' actor. Take a look at the real person in the picture. I had friends that had happened to at Lusted Town. They're going, dude, Joel, you won't believe this guy punched me. I didn't do anything. So, but it's no different than the soap opera actors. I've heard some soap opera, the guy's walking along the street, and the girl comes up and just, you're nasty, bam, and kicks him in the groin. And he's like, I'm an actor doing a job. It's not real. So other people have to figure this out for themselves too. But still, if you have, the one I always was, Al from Happy Days that played Al. He did the Fig Newton commercial before he did Happy Days, and I thought, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be in McDonald's and they go, oh, you're the Fig Newton dude, because he's got a Fig Newton on him and his face, and you could tell it was Al Molinaro. But that got him one other thing. So it's up to somebody. If I get something from my agent, he goes, yeah, I already got one. Okay, here's a very good example, and I did it. they wanted you to do a thing for a what is it? Colostomy? What is it? Colostomy. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I want to do that. But I said, let's go shoot it. And I put the tripod because it was, you video and you send it to your agent and they look at it. Went out in front of the car, made it very bright like they wanted it. And I did all the lines, close, saying that word again. But saying that and going, oh, heck, I wouldn't want to do that. And that's what it was for. So if I would have got that part, then yes, I might have been in Publix and hey, you're the Clostopony guy. But it's all a part of acting. So you and me have to think, can we do this and take the chance that people are gonna, say that to us? Or, hey, there goes the rapist, everybody. I'm a rapist in the movie, not in real life.
Right. Like, so in one movie, I have to say these horribly racist things. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I don't know if I do this or not. Because I'm like, it could be used against me. Like, and I never, of course I don't mean it, but I say horrible stuff, and I go, well, but you know what, man, at some point, people have to realize I'm an actor, right? Like, I don't do this stuff. I don't feel that way.
Yes.
I mean, I don't use the products I endorse, and I'm not saying I don't use all of them, but, I think the only one I actually use is Everyman Jack. But other than that, I don't, none of the products I endorse, that stuff. So we're running out of time. Tell us, you've been wonderful to talk to. I wish we had more time. Tell the people what you have coming up. And I know you have like 10,000 things coming up. So maybe give us a couple.
Well, it is kind of neat. We have something here in Tampa called the Tampa Bay Underground Film Festival. I do have 6 movies coming up on that, which is pretty cool because my wife's the one that said, she goes, baby, we're like in 4 movies. And then I found out I was in 2 more. So that was Blood, Guts, and Sunshine, a documentary about Florida filmmakers, which is really cool. I'm in it a lot. And then there's one called, hell, I can't remember them. I don't want to waste your time. Just a bunch of them. Anomaly, and there's a short session or something it's called. Group session. Inheritance, which is really my wife's movie, but the director wanted me in it. I was even telling him, I go, just have my wife in it. I don't have to be in this. I said, I'm perfectly watching Lucille Ball on the TV back in the corner. Just take my wife and go. But he's like, no, I got to have you in my movie. So that's playing, and then there's a couple others. So that's cool, but then I'm working on my the Craigline Incident with my buddy Phil Herman and Sean C. Phillips, and Craigline Incident Part 2 and Part 3, Annihilation. I'm finishing that up now. I have another one called Beast Mode. We had to stop because of COVID. Although this one, Craigline Incident, I did through the whole COVID thing. That's why that movie got started, because they're telling me on TV I can't go anywhere. So I started to shoot the movie in my front yard as a stupid little thing. And then it blew up into this huge movie with 30, 40 people in it. And so I shot Lloyd Kaufman from Troma Films, and Debbie Rashan and I are good friends, so we shot some stuff. And we had to stop because of COVID, because that was too handsy, and Craigline I could do, not being handsy, because I could do footage from all over the world. So we'll probably finish that. And then I have a couple of others, the Owen Brothers, and Onslaught, and probably whatever else comes down the line that I keep telling myself this next one's my last one, and then I get halfway through that and I start something else. So
I feel you, man. I keep saying I'm never going to do that again. I'm not going to do that. And then there I am doing it. Just like commercials, man. I was done with commercials and now I'm back at it. So,
yeah.
So like I said, you have 2,000 projects coming up. Where can the people find you?
Mostly I had a the www.joeldwynkoop, but I never really used it. So, and then when Facebook came along, after MySpace, Facebook, I just like making all these connections and stuff. And so what a great opportunity to just use Facebook as that. So I just put on my, someone wants to get in touch with me, go on Facebook, put in the search engine, Joel D. Wynkoop. That's the page I use the most. I have like 13 of them for all the different movies. God, not all of them, because there'll be like 200 pages. But just a few. But that's the best way I do stuff with Facebook. I put stuff up on Facebook. Hey, I'm casting. If you want to be in this movie, let me know. Hey, I got this movie for sale. Let me know. I don't do things like, here's the spaghetti dinner I ate last night. Doesn't it look wonderful? I don't do that crap. But my stuff is just marketing, trying to market the movies, tell people what I'm doing. Like this, I put this on my page immediately. So if someone looks at the Joel Wynkoop page, Facebook, and they're going to see you and they go, oh, what's this? Let me click on it and say, because I'm doing this show with Jason. And they'll click on it and watch it, hopefully. And so, yeah, and yeah, and then that's anything. And then I'll put my trailers, because, you know, because they say about the, now, you know, the algorithms and stuff that you put on there. I ate a Twinkie, and you'll get 800, you know, responses. I love Twinkies, but I can put on there, just started the movie, Tom Cruise, and you get nothing. Those algorithms, or whatever they call them, and whatever Facebook does, but I use it mostly as a marketing thing. Put up my movies, tell people what I'm doing. Do you want to be in the movie? Cast it. Do this, do that. Here, if you want to buy a producer credit, an executive producer credit, buy so many movies, you get this credit for free on my movie. You know, and you're on IMDb. You're released in the movie. It'll be all over the world. So I pretty much use Facebook just, you know, pretty much for that stuff. You know, just promotion.
Me too. I used to use it for, like, you know, funny comments and political humor and stuff, and now I just use it for promotion since becoming an actor. You know, I do the same thing. And when I look at people send me friend requests and I look at their page and I go, what is all this cat pictures and stuff, man? You know, like, if you're an actor, maybe I'll take you as a friend, but represent for that, right?
Yeah. Well, I try, and nowadays it's like, I don't know if I'm sure you get these. You get these girls with big, they're busting out of their tops, and I want to be your friend. And then it says, it's a WhatsApp app for prostitution. I'm like, delete. And then other ones that just are hackers. I just had one, you know, it makes me feel bad because my friend Nick Cuddy, he passed away. And he's the creator of Captain Cosmos, the comic book character. And he worked on Starship Troopers and all these movies and stuff. And I got a friend request from him the other day, and I just wrote the guy back. I go, dude, can't you get your own Facebook? This is my personal friend. If I could, I would track you down and beat the living crap out of you.
Right.
You know? Why do you have to steal someone else? Why do you have to hack into somebody else? Just use your own. Just send me one. You know, Jim Brown wants to be your friend. Now, the other thing I do, and you might do it too, I ask people, I say, hey, got your friend request? How did you hear of me? I don't know, just bumbling around. Then you know, we'll never talk to each other, so I'm just like, delete, or, oh, okay, thanks. But if they go, dude, I saw you in Dirty Cop, or I saw you in Creep, then I'm going to say yes, because that's the kind of want to have around you, you know. Every time I say I want to quit, I get a private message from somebody saying, dude, I loved you in Twisted Illusions. I thought you were great when you chopped your hand off, and that keeps me going. If I don't get that, I don't know. Sometimes, do you ever get that way? You just like, screw it, I'll just be a policeman.
I tell you, man, yeah, of course, because there's days we don't eat, right? Starving artists. So you know, and I don't mean we don't eat, but I mean, there's days where money is tight, and I think to myself, why am I working so goddamn hard? I could go get a regular job. I used to get paid thousands to manage people's businesses, and now, you know, now I'm some actor gets paid hundreds, and and I go, why am I doing it? And it's so funny that you mentioned that, and we're really out of time, but I'm enjoying this conversation, so we're going to go a little bit longer. But somebody impersonated me. A lady sends me a message, and she goes, yo, just so you know, there's somebody on a dating app who's you. And this guy was so not me. He was in Kentucky, and he was single, and he didn't live with his kids, and I'm none of those things. And he was a good Christian guy or some crap. And so I feel you. It's like, you know, I don't know why anyone would want to be me. Like, to pretend to be me, like, you know, it seems silly to me. Like, you know, and there's so many other things. And I get those ones too, and I go, is that girl, like not just the picture, I know the profile's not real, but is the photo even a real person? Like, does that girl exist somewhere? And is it just a porn photo? Like, because I know it's not real, but I often think, where did you get these photos? How did you become me on a dating app? Like, you know, I mean, I couldn't understand it.
I tell you why, you've already got a following because you do these shows. So somebody might watch your show and go, man, look at all the stuff he does and all the attention he gets. I'm going to snatch onto his name, and I'm going to say I'm him. And, you know, and then he does, if he's doing a mimic of you and trying to pass himself off, because then he can turn around and go, well, just go look at my webpage. I got thousands and thousands of people follow me. And then the chick or whoever is like, oh, cool, he does it. So, yes, that's why, because there's no reason to, some guy, and not putting down McDonald's, you work for McDonald's, that's awesome. But some guy working at McDonald's and they go, and that guy's on Facebook once in a while. Yeah, I did not do 11 shift. The stupid guy punched me in the back of the head. I'm mad, so I'm not going to make his Big Macs. Why is somebody going to grab that guy's profile and try and be fake him that is never talked about except when someone's getting a burger, or somebody like you that's always out there in the media doing your show? So what are you going to pick, Mr. McDonald's, or are we going to pick Jason? We're going to pick Jason.
Right. I feel you. And, you know, the funny thing is the kid working at McDonald's is going to make more than he is being an actor.
If I would say, well, it's always an income, put it that way. And you've had shoots that have paid you really good. I've had shoots that have paid me. I just told my sister, when I did like Forensic Files, I made like $3,500, and they play it over and over again. But that was the buyout. So at the time, I'm like, man, that was great. How many more Forensic Files have I done? None.
Right.
You know?
And it's so funny what people think we get paid. Like people think, oh man, you made that. When I worked for Ford, I did a commercial for Ford. I got $150 because they were like, they're like, yo, we'll get anyone. And I'm going, well, I want Ford on my resume.
Yeah, I did a Toyota commercial. I made $75, and I remember going in at Armalini that night trying to beg my boss to let me. I go, come on, Pete, let me off. I got to do a Toyota commercial. Just let me off tomorrow. What do you make on it? $75. You're gonna make $150 here. Yeah, but I'm gonna get on TV. So, and the guys were teasing me. They're going, so you're gonna go drive all the way down to West Palm Beach, be in a Toyota commercial, make $75 when you could have made $185 here loading trucks? Yeah. So you're taking less to be the act, but that's it until you hit that. It's like I said, I use Tom Cruise as an excuse. I mean, or even Charlie Sheen way back in Grizzly 2. Charlie Sheen's in there. He probably was making $25 for that movie. He just ran on, oh, Grizzly, there, and then he ran off and he's done. And they re-released it and said, starring Charlie Sheen. He's only in it like a minute.
They do that a lot.
But look at him today. So sometimes you got to take all the BS from everybody coming at you going, well, an actor doesn't make any money. You're right. They don't. They have to work at it a long time. Nobody usually walks into it. Even Will Smith said after he released Parents Don't Understand, he blew all that money, blew it all that money he had until he didn't have anything again. And then he had to restart, and then he had to be smart and say, let's take some money, put it in the bank. Let's take this money, put it right here. So, yeah, it's usually you pay when both doing that. So, yeah, when I was at Crystal, I worked for Crystal Water for 20 years. I made a lot more money at Crystal Water than I do acting. But I was killing my back. You're driving in traffic. I got people racing in front of me. I got out of it because I told myself, I go, the last time I was coming up on 275 onto I-4, nothing in front of me. And I'm doing 45, 50, and I got this monstrous truck I'm driving with all this bottled water. I look to my left to see if I can get over. I look back. There's a car sitting right in front of me. I whipped that wheel. I swear it felt to me like I missed that car by maybe that much. And that's when I said, you know what? I got to get out of this, man. It's traffic, and more traffic than anything else was the reason I left Crystal Water. And but I did, I was there 20 years, so I was making good money. I was making $42,000, which isn't a lot, but it was great for the common ordinary guy and still do movies. I also left because I had 2 movies in a row they wouldn't let me off on. But yeah, your common guy will make more working at McDonald's unless you keep hitting something. Back to the Forensic Files, $3,500. Then I did Arts and Entertainment, something else, $7,000. Then I did this, and I got $650. Then I got this one. Then you're cooking. But talking to you and me, you're talking about I was watching you talk about that last thing you did, and people are like, dude, I just did one for a foot thing, and it played overseas, luckily, because I don't want to be in McDonald's and going, hey, dude, does that foot thing really help you? Dude, I don't know. I'm just an actor.
Right.
I don't really use that foot. I just needed the $150 that day.
Exactly. So, Joel Wynkoop, you've been amazing. I wish we had more time to talk. I hope to work with you someday.
I would love it.
You've been great. Folks, I want to thank our guest, of course, Joel Wynkoop. I want to thank producer Warren Madden. This has been Coffee Breaks Thursdays with Jason Zalakis. Happy Veterans Day, everybody. Stay safe out there. We will see you next week.
Yes, happy Veterans Day. Thank you to all of you veterans, past, present, future. My dad was in, my brother was in. Thank you all so very much for what you do for our country. We love you.
Joel Wynkoop.